Welcome back to another episode of the I'm Not a Hater podcast featuring your favorite not hater, Mr. Brown. Today we're going to be talking about a legend in the world. Um, I guess you could say due to race and civil rights, we know about his name more often than others. He has a holiday which is January 20th, but it's usually the third Monday in January. He is none other than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Um, and the reason why I am doing this episode or, recording this episode at this time is to shine a little bit more light on Dr. King. It is my, I guess you could say it is my fear that at some point or another, Dr. King won't be taught or recognized in society due to critical race theory and everything else that is being streamlined to wipe out the history of African Americans in society. It is often thought that the leaders of the past, Dr. King, Malcolm X, etc., won't be taught on the same level that you or I learned them on, right? Because I would say from grades, I'd say kindergarten to all the way up and through high school, even though they pulled them out every, January through March, right? We learned about Dr. King in history. That was important, for kids like me. I wasn't born in 1966 or 65. I was born in 1985. I didn't even know Dr. King, walked the earth. Thought it was some legend. But my teachers in grades 4 through 6, I'm gonna shout them out. Miss Gordon, Miss Lehal, and Miss Colvin made sure that we learned about Dr. King, who he was, and what he did for the nation. And also, later on when I got older, me digging through, history books and finding out that, Dr. King went from, nonviolence to talking a little bit different towards the end of his life, was a huge surprise for me, but a pleasant surprise nonetheless, right? He became a rebel rouser and, he crossed some people. I don't know. Might have crossed the wrong people in some estimations. But with that being said, I took the time while I was sitting thinking on Wednesday. I took the time to write a short letter to Dr. King, and you could say his family too, because they were just as integral, allowing us to have their husband and their father at the time, in his push for civil rights and human rights. So I took the time to write a letter to Dr. King, from my perspective, right? A person who was born after he was done accomplishing his work, um, and just kind of thanking him for what he did. So I hope that you guys can understand. I hope some of you can sympathize and empathize with this letter and understand it, and kind of agree with it if you are around my age or younger. Dr. King did a lot for us that we didn't get to see, but we're reaping the benefits of it at this point. We still got a ways to go, but he set us off on the right foot. Dear Dr. King, thank you for all that you've done for this nation and the human race. Thank you for pushing for the advancement of African Americans on a whole and giving us knowledge and the self-awareness to make strides in this world that we never saw before. Thank you for encouraging Sister Rosa not to give up her seat, and indirectly Brother Malcolm later on as well, to fight for their rights in other ways. We appreciate the sacrifice for fighting for what was right and just for people, often getting arrested and being called a boy and being told that you're nothing in this world. I appreciate your fight. Thank you to Coretta, Martin III, Yolanda, Bernice, and Dexter for your sacrifice in understanding that this movement was important and that your husband and father was the leader of that movement. and was the key piece in making it go. I know, Dr. King, there were many times you probably wanted to sit at home, enjoy a TV show, or just have dinner and talk to your family, but you couldn't do that. You got up, you worked on a speech or planned a march because it was necessary for the movement. You pledged your life to making this world a better place, and it's sad that the world wasn't ready for it, and they took you away when you changed your tone and your speech. But you laid the blueprint for us to thrive and be great. Now we still have a ways to go, but thank you for being what you were for us and helping us to be free in many different ways. Although myself and many others weren't alive to see you when you were working, we appreciate your work and your giving spirit. It was an influence to me and many others. So once again, I say peace and love to Dr. King and the King family. I hope that, with that letter, like I said before, I hope you guys who are around my age and younger, I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. Without Dr. King, Jim Crow would still be a large piece of our world. And you know, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have today. Segregation would still be around, and it'd probably be a lot tougher because we are a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? We are a lot more aggressive than the people during Dr. King's time. As you can see later on, the Black Panther Party and such, right? They came along and it was Black Power and Afros and everything else. But, hey, things had to change. And like I said, even Dr. King changed his tone from nonviolence to everybody needs to get ahead. And when he started talking like that, government and other officials couldn't take it. This man helped us get, civil rights. We wanted to keep them quiet. Now they, you know, rebel rousing again. They was getting upset. FBI was following them and all kind of, crazy things. That he was just a civil rights, just a preacher. Like, I don't think he needed FBI surveillance, but they thought he was some kind of communist, and he was going to get up with Russia and do some crazy stuff. But Dr. King was out here just trying to make sure that the same advantages that white people had, that black people could have them, and that we all could be on an even playing field. But as you can see, they don't want us to be on an even playing field. But that's a talk for another time. Like I always say, I'm going to leave y'all with some positivity. Love your people, and if you love them, tell them you love them. Give them their flowers, whatever the case is. And I'll give an example of this. So the other day I was talking to a family member, and I was letting them know that I appreciated them during the time that my mom passed, because I don't confide in many people, or I'm talking about it now, but I don't really talk about it much. I kind of deal with it by myself. But I realized with like going to work and coming home and kind of keeping that same routine, like there were times where I just didn't have it, but being able to talk to them and others that I work with, like it really helped me to get through that rest of that work year, because I did go back to work, and like I said, it wasn't easy, but I did what I could. But it was the love that they showed me, and keeping me up, and they didn't have to do a lot. They could have easily just laughed or said a joke, or just checked in when they could, but it made that much of a difference. And let people know that you appreciate them when they do things like that, because people don't have to take the time to do that kind of stuff. But when they do, like give them they just do for what they do for you. um, and with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. This podcast is here. Shout out to the King family, Atlanta, Georgia, Andrew Young, NAACP, I could go on. I could name a bunch of people. Oh, R.I.P. John Lewis. He was making good trouble too back then. As a kid, he was marching online. Shout out to him. But shout out to Dr. King, um, and Miss Coretta Scott King as well for what they did for the movement. Appreciate them. Love people while they're here. God bless. I'll see you next episode.